has a golden brownish hue to it. It looks beautiful. And then in the sunlight, this pod, like when the sun is hitting it the right way, it has a vibrant purple color to it. Beautiful pod. I know Drew said he thought it was a jigsaw pepper. He could be right. I'm not getting too much of the chocolate scorpion look now. It has more of a purple, lightish brown, golden color change on the go. Look at that. So I'm interested, right? So for tolerance training for me, you know, if I was going to be going to Heating Up the Capital this year and I was trying to train for that, I would be looking for peppers, because some peppers burn differently. So I would be looking for peppers that'll affect the back of the throat. They're going to give you a nice burn back here. Your Reapers and Armageddons, stuff like that. And then the scorpions, this kind of has a scorpion pheno, but they're going to give you more of that aggressive sting right on the tongue. So when I'm training for something, I try to get both. I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to get that aggressive sting on the front, on the mouth, on the tongue. And I'm also trying to attack the back of the throat and build the tolerance back here. For me, you can tell, okay? You can tell for me when my tolerance at the back of my throat is higher because I don't hiccup. I stop hiccuping. But when it's when my tolerance is kind of dropped, and you guys have seen it recently in a few videos, but I will hiccup a lot. I start, like, it affects my throat. So if I'm training, I'm trying to train the back of my throat, and I'm also trying to train the front of my mouth. I'm trying to get all over, encompass that burn all over your mouth and your throat. So that's a good rule of thumb, something to keep in mind. Hopefully it can help somebody. When I'm looking for peppers, I'm looking for both varieties all the time, right? Just something to keep in mind for you guys. Let's cut this open. I want to see, these are my pods, so they could be black. They could very well be black. So right away, it's pretty firm. And it's probably not as ripe, okay? But look at the placenta. So maybe, just maybe this was going to keep changing color into this kind of lighter brown. I might have picked it too early. So we'll see. We'll see where the burn is. At least it's not black. Okay, cheers guys. Let's go. Good burn. Wow, it's hot. I may hiccup from this one. I think it wasn't as ripe. Could be a little more riper, I think. Oh, not. And then when you talk about the heat, you talk about the back and the front burn. You also have some flavorful notes you can get with pods. You have like a fruity note, which can be a habanero. Wow, that pod is hot, man. All at the back of my tongue and back of my throat. You have them fruity notes. You have you have floral notes in a pod. And then you have earthy tones. That pod is very earthy, the one I just ate. Not so much floral. I didn't get a... And when you talk about floral, you're talking perfumey. You get a perfumey, flowery, sometimes kind of taste. It's awful. Sometimes it can be worse than the heat. I will say I love habaneros for that reason. Sometimes you get a habanero, it's fruity. It has a nice aggressive sting on the tongue. It's great pepper. Great pepper for a hot sauce. Same with Scotch bonnet. Earthy tones with that pod. But it, yeah, very, very earthy. When I say earthy, I mean kind of like maybe a bit of a dirt taste, you know. Not so much dirt, like it's, I don't know, definitely good heat though. Good heat on it. Say my heat is probably three or four. It seems like it is all over the tongue. Seems like it does have a scorpion sting, like all over the tongue. Maybe pushing to the back a bit. And then when you talk pods too, you know, I'm happy though, guys. That was my second pod of the season. So we're going now. We're going. But you know, you get them burns. I've also had pods, right? Like a Carolina Reaper. And most people in the chili community are gonna know these facts. So, but for a Carolina Reaper, it can creep, right? I've also had scorpions that kind of sat on the tongue, and then they kind of migrate a bit to the back of the throat. I've had some Reapers like that too. You get that big aggressive burn on the back of the tongue, and then it just seems to engulf all down here. Wow. So that was, I gotta say, it's not overly earthy, that pod I just ate. Hopefully maybe if it gets a little more riper, it'd be a little more flavorful. Yeah, so I mean, I hope that can help some of you guys out there. There is different things I look for in tolerance training. Every pod is going to be different sometimes, which makes it great for training. And you know, you get different creepers and shakers and movers and different burns. It's going to affect how your tolerance is going to be in your throat and in your mouth. So, and for me, I like training both. I like training both. And even the perfumey floral pods, if I can get them, I'll tell you right now, get them and use them and train with them. When you're in a competition, especially the floral will work against you. So if you're better prepped for the floral pods, you're going to be better off to go deep into that competition. So for me personally, I remember somebody, I think it was the Pineappler, said a long time ago, and I think he's right though. You know, when a good sign of heat is floral. When the pod is very floral, it's a good sign of heat. And some of them pods I got from Simon out of Quebec, man, the first year I got some of them, some were floral and they were scorchers, man. I couldn't believe how hot they were. So that's one tip I look for now too, right? It's nice to have the fruity, delicious pods. But if I'm training, if you were training for a competition, you want floral, you want hot, you want different types of pods, you want all of that all over the mouth. And I will say, you know, the floral for me makes me gag. It's not the heat, it's the floridity. That floridity will just, I don't know, it encompasses my gag reflex, and eventually I just and I think that's the case for a lot of people. So going into Ottawa last year, I was kind of, you know, I had a lot of floral pods from Simon, and I was going hard on the floridity. And I think you have to do that. So yeah, that's tolerance training day 2, guys. I hope it helps somebody. You know, it might not help anybody, and that's okay. For me, it's just kind of documenting. That's my second pod now, and I'm trying to give a few tips. I'm trying to raise my tolerance again too. And you know, it seems like it's been harder this time around. I don't know why. The first time I don't know why. It just seems like it's a lot harder to build it, but I'm still having fun eating pods, and I love pods, and I love the burn. I love how I got that earthy tone with that one, right? So yeah, so stay tuned. There's going to be more pods to come. Maybe next will be the white Primatali, but I don't want to pick them too early. I gotta wait. That one was a little unripened for my liking, so maybe it'll be a little better next time around. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Cheers, everybody.